today I am going to walk you through everything that you need to know so you can make an adorable baby blanket with a lettuce hem trim. Now this baby blanket is a super easy project, but there are a few things that you need to know before jumping into this project that will save you a few headaches. So first, the type of fabric that you need to buy. Look for a jersey knit fabric. Look for something that is preferably 95% cotton and then 5% spandex. The reason being, it just makes for a really soft fabric and a breathable fabric for baby. So have a look for that. Once you find that, then double check your fabric. I'll use a scrap piece here. One side will be super stretchy, which will be great, but it's the opposite side of your fabric's edge that you really need to pay attention to when you're in the fabric store, because you need something that has some stretch to it. It will never be as stretchy as this side here. That's okay. Just make sure it has a good amount of stretch to it. So once you've found the correct fabric, you need a correct needle. So I will link in the description down below to the needle that you will need to use to sew with a knit fabric. It is a jersey sewing needle, and you can do this project with a universal sewing needle, but I highly recommend looking into changing that needle out. And then of course you will need something from home that has a curved edge to it, as well as a water soluble marker. And whatever curved edge you choose is fine. You just need something that allows you to have a bit of a soft curve to your corner. So now that we know everything that we need for this sewing project, let's pull out that sewing machine and get started. All right, so step one is cutting our fabric. To do this for myself, I folded my fabric in a triangle, and then I was able to lay my ruler along the bottom just to stop my fabric from curling, and then just cut along the bottom and cut away all of that excess fabric. That left me with a blanket that was between 41 and 42 inches by 41 and 42 inches. Now, of course, you can change this. You can make your baby blanket longer, make it a rectangle, you can make it smaller, whatever you wish. Step two is trimming our corners. Now, to do the lettuce trim, it's going to be difficult to have a sharp corner. So just take your rounded object, grab your water-soluble marker and trace around that edge and then cut away the excess fabric. That way you've got a nice soft corner. Do that for all 4 corners. And don't worry too much if the corners don't match up, because our lettuce hem will hide all imperfections. And step number 3 is pinning our edges. This step can be skipped if you're comfortable, but I just wanted to show you how I did it. So just fold all of the edges over between a 1/2 inch to a full inch, and then just pin all the way up to each corner, but do not pin on your rounded edge. And now let's set up our zigzag settings. So on your sewing machine, you should have a feature where you can go to your zigzag setting and then set your zigzag to the tightest zigzag that you can. And the actual zigzag width itself can be around middle of the range zigzag. And now it's time to start sewing. So at this point, make sure that you've got that jersey point needle in your sewing machine if you are going to use that needle. And then lay your fabric, start kind of in the middle of your fabric, not on a corner, and lay it under your sewing foot where the zigzag will be. Now your zigzag, you want to go over the edge of the fabric and then back. You are not sewing along the inner part of the fold, but your outer edge of the fold. I hope that makes sense. And then what you'll do is you will start tugging on your fabric. Normally when you sew, you do not pull your fabric, but for this method, you're actually going to pull your fabric a little bit on the back end as well as on the front end. Now, depending on what edge you're working on, your stretchier side or your less stretchy side, you will end up with a different amount of curl on your fabric. On the non-stretchy side, try to pull it as taut as you can. That way you can get the most curl possible, and then it will match the opposite side a little bit better. Now, if you find that your zigzag is moving a little bit away from your outer edge, then just just stop, lift up your sewing foot when the needle is actually not in your fabric. Be very careful when you do this, and just adjust your fabric a little bit to the right so that you're zigzagging on that outer edge again instead of sewing off of the fabric. And then you go around your entire piece of fabric. Now, when you get to the corners, it's going to be a little bit more finicky. And this is why I suggest not pinning those corners, because as you come up to the corner, you'll fold your fabric in and continue the stretching process. And as you stretch your fabric and go around that outer edge, you'll be able to fold your fabric in a lot easier than if you were to try and pin it ahead of time. And right here, of course, I ran out of thread, so I had to grab more thread for my bobbin and put it in place. You will most likely have to do this, so keep your eye on that because you are going to be using a lot of thread since you have such a tight zigzag that you are doing. But just start again a little bit further back on your seam so that you're sewing over a little bit of your seam and continue on down the line. So as you can see here, I've folded over the outer edge and I'm slowly going around that corner. And as you can see, we are rounding the corner quite nicely, and the stretching just made it so much easier as we did that corner. Now do that all the way around, of course, finish with a back stitch, and then it is time to trim. So to trim all of the excess past your seam, I found using my little Fisker scissors was a lot easier for me than to use a regular larger pair of scissors. You can use whatever pair of scissors you have handy, but I will definitely link in the description down below to the scissors that I used to do this because it made the whole process go a lot faster. And that, my friends, is how you can make a beautiful, soft, adorable baby blanket with a lettuce hem trim. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give it that thumbs up. And if you want future tutorials like this, definitely hit that subscribe button. I hope that you guys have a wonderful summer, and I'll see you back here next time. Next time, I might be talking about this tie-dye blanket, unless that video already went up. And if it did, check it out, because tie-dye was a lot of fun. All right, bye for now.